After you log in, this is your My Georgia View page. Anytime you want to get back to this page, if you'll click on this tab up at the very top that simply says My Georgia View, it will take you back to this page. Now let's look at what's on this page very quickly. First of all is your calendar. It's showing me that their SA1 is due at 11 a.m. today. This information comes from all the courses that I'm enrolled in that I have calendar information put in, as well as I can add things to it myself. I can even add personal items to this calendar by clicking here and editing that day. Similarly, I have a to-do list that I can add things to. And what also shows up by default here is My Grades. This is for students where they can go straight to their grades. We wouldn't want this for as an instructor, so we can easily get rid of that by clicking this tab here and selecting Hide My Grades, and it disappears. Now let's say you want to get that back, or you've deleted something else like your to-do list and you want to get it back. The way you control that is with Channels over here on the upper right. Click on Channels, and these are the options of things that show up in My Georgia View. Notice some of these things are grayed out. You cannot uncheck those, but the rest of these you can. And My Grades is unchecked because we just hit it. Let's bring it back, click it, click Save, and there it is again in My Georgia View. On the far right, our campus announcements. Be sure to check this regularly for important information that relates to your use of Georgia View, including things like maintenance, which may be telling you that the system will be down for a while when you were planning on working, so you'll need to know about that. Personal bookmarks are links that you have inserted to various things that you use regularly. And campus bookmarks are links to things that students and faculty may need on a regular basis. And this is, everyone sees this when they log into GeorgiaVIEW. At the bottom right is Who's Online. This shows you how many people, first of all here, and then ultimately who is online in your various classes. Each class you have will show up here. Let's click on this one. And I'm the only one online right now, but I could see everyone who's online at the moment and invite them to engage in a live chat session with me if I wanted to at that time, or if I'm just curious about who's online, I can do that as well. Going back to GeorgiaVIEW, upper left-hand corner, My GeorgiaVIEW tab, brings me back to this page. Now, the main other thing that we're going to need to look at here is the course list. In the course list, every course that you are enrolled in is going to show up in the list here, and to get to that course you click on that link. Before we do that, let's look at these other two things. External courses are not going to show here because we don't have links to external courses at Bainbridge College, but if you had some other courses here, they would show up there. And your calendar week, everything on your week for the calendar is what is in this last box here. Let's look now at how you can customize some of the things on your GeorgiaVIEW page. We looked previously at channels that allows you to hide or show these options on that page, on your GeorgiaVIEW page. But there are a few other things you can do here, including changing the color scheme of everything here. I will remind you that the top of this stays green with the Bainbridge logo there, so you wouldn't want to change the colors probably that conflict with that, but that's totally up to you, or you can just leave them the way they are with fairly complementary colors there. You can also change the layout, that is what appears in each column. Right now this is the default, the way that I've shown you in this program here, but you can move things by clicking on its radio button and then moving it to either column. Just move that to column B, and I'm going to move it back to column A, and you can arrange things in a way that you might prefer there. Under My Settings, we'll look at these in a second. Under My Settings at the very top, these are settings that apply throughout the courses for you. This is your profile page. You can click Edit Profile, and by default your first name and last name are what are public. This shows with things like who's online. That's what's going to show there. And you can make other options, your username and your email address, public if you want. You can also post a photo of yourself. You browse for it through this button here, upload it into GeorgiaVIEW, and make it public or not with that button there. That's what you do with your profile. My roles is pretty not something you'll look at much. It's just going to tell you the courses that you're in and what level you're in and your role, a designer, instructor, or in some cases a student. My tool options, we're not going to go through each one of these here. I think they're fairly self-explanatory, but this allows you to make a few adjustments to the way things appear in your courses. I will point out one thing here. The third item from the bottom, paging, is the number of items that show up inside GeorgiaVIEW for various things like your gradebook or items showing in your file manager. It's by default it's set to 10, but if you have it set to 10 and you have 15 items on a particular page, then you're going to need to go to the next page to see those items. And sometimes you forget that they're there and you're looking for something and you can't find it. So depending on whether you're on campus or at home with a dial-up, you might want to adjust that. If you have a fast connection, then you can change that to something like 50 and it will show all 50 items on a page when you go there. If you're on a dial-up and you do that, then it's going to slow things down to display all of those. So if you have high speed everywhere you go, you might want to increase that to 50 to make sure everything you see shows up, or everything you're looking for shows up on a particular page. Back up to the top, we're in my settings now. Help is really important to point out. Every page you're on has a context-sensitive help button. That is, if you're in something like the grade book and you click on help, it's going to bring up help information for the grade book. So that's a really important place for you to get information and probably a first step for you when you're struggling with things. And finally, here is the logout icon for getting out of GeorgiaVIEW. And the other two icons on the top right are Mail and Calendar. The Mail icon, clicking on that, takes you into a list of your courses. It shows you how many messages you have, how many are unread. You can click on the course name and it takes you to the mail box where you can see the message and respond to it, create another message, and you have very familiar looking email items here, and that's the mail. The next to the last is the calendar icon. This brings up the calendar. You have your choice of a month, week, or day view, adding entries, creating a printable view, etc. Here we have the one item that's added for this particular test class here. Notice there's an institutional announcement down here at the bottom. GeorgiaVIEW creates keys for you automatically. Everything in black here is this course we're in now, showing up on the 11th and the 12th. And this icon are announcements for the entire college. The particular week that this is being recorded, GeorgiaVIEW is down for the entire week. So that's something important to know there. You can also adjust your view by the institution, plus all my courses, plus my personal items, or you can select just one of those views to show, for example, only your personal items that you may have added to that calendar. That's a quick overview of the basic settings in my GeorgiaVIEW.